Okay, we're waiting on a notification, sir.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have an incredible guest with us today, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. Brother Miciail X. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Yes, alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. All right. So the first question that and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the People's Podcast. The first question we have for you today, sir, is when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
So the first time I heard was 1995. So, and that was through what I call kind of like my stepbrothers, and truthfully, I think what sparked it was I was going to join the Navy. So, and, they had asked me why you want to join it, which my motive was like opportunity and money, like a lot of us, you know what I mean? So, and I really didn't want to talk about it because I think they was probably pressing me, that to show it wasn't the real reasons and I shouldn't be joining. But we kind of had an overnight few-hour discussion where they convinced, because they were heavily into the minister, but they hadn't joined, and they came across him from what they call a public access channel. I don't know if you all got that out there, but old school, before YouTube and stuff like that, they let people do what we're doing on YouTube. They let them do it on a public access studio in your city, and it reaches the city. So somebody back in the day was putting on Minister Farrakhan tapes, and people can watch it on their cable TV. So, and so they kind of fell in love with him from watching that, and we just kind of reconnected because I knew them technically since I was probably 2 years old, 1977. And so we got reconnected as when I'm around 19 or something, because we had kind of dismantled, I want to say, because of, some life experiences I had. So we got dismantled, and then we kind of reconnected, and I was hanging with them. We go to the club and stuff like that. So that's when after that, I think that's when it initially kicked off. And then they just convinced me that, there's no place for the Black man in the Navy. You know what I'm saying? So I would just hang out with them and then I want to say they're zealous, and they're, being intrigued and love for the ministry just kind of spread to me, put it like that. So that's when I first heard it in 1995, right before the march.
Oh, praise the Lord. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My sister Miriam says, Assalamu alaikum salam, man. And thank you all for people who are watching all across the country. And we can't wait to put this on YouTube as well. How did the rest of your family and friends feel about you accepting the teaching?
Well, first of all, bro, I'd just be honest with you, man. To my family, as I was transitioning, I was quiet about it. So now my first heavy decision was, because I told my family I was joining the Navy. So my first decision that I changed about myself was not joining the Navy. So, they didn't really understand, put it like that. I lived with an adopted family since I was 6 years old. So I can say my adopted father, he didn't like that choice. You know what I'm saying? But we just had a discussion at a dinner table one time, and it just kind of went on, you know what I'm saying? And my second decision, but how do I want to say? I guess it kind of transitions to, is my second life-changing choice I made was to stop eating meat, all meats. And that's when I seen those same stepbrothers they were vegetarians. And I remember it put an impact on me when we went to Taco Bell together, and they ordered stuff with no meat in there. So I said, I'm gonna try it. So that was my second life-changing decision between those two. Not during, but see, here's the thing, which is a kind of a story.
Yes, are you there, sir? All right. Okay, well, we waiting on our brother. Walaikum salam, brother Nelson. Ramos, who's sending the greetings, believers, all the way from Massachusetts. Thank you, brother Nelson, for always tapping in and showing love. Perfect. We're waiting on our brother Miciail. So I'm sure he seems he has some Wi-Fi issues. For Miciail? All right. Okay, we're waiting on brother Miciail.
Okay, something happened, but
yes, sir, we're right here with you.
Yes, sir, it's all good. But so like I was saying, that was my second life-changing experience, was How to Eat to Live. Even though it was, being a vegetarian, even though it wasn't directly coming from the teachings, but it was a big stepping stone for us. Let me put it like that. So let me just put it like that, though. That was those were my two major life-changing things I changed, but the teachings involved in there, because it's like you're making steps. When you hear that teaching, it's like you hear the truth, man, and you never heard it before like that, it motivates you, so all on your journey, you're making decisions, changes of your lives that you might say might not directly have something to do with the teachings, but it does, though. So let me just put it like that. Yeah.
Oh, praise do so a lot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we get a little feedback right now with the echo. Brother Nelson says, thank you, beloved brother. And Minister Jamil says, assalamu alaikum salam, sir. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. All right. How did the Million Man March personally impact you and the community?
I'm gonna just be honest with you, bro. So, and I said, no question, it don't matter what question you ask me. Okay, so that was in the beginning when I was starting to hear these teachings a little bit. Okay, and my stepbrothers, they went, and I was still struggling with that decision. Okay, I guess I felt they were going no matter what, and they went, and it was messing with me in my mind. And then I remember at the end, I'm like, I'm worried about leaving too much baggage here. You feel me? So whether it's job and stuff, whatever it was, to take off, all that, you know what I'm saying? And I remember my brother I remember I was dropping him off at the airport. I believe I was, or I was I think I've seen him before they went or whatever it was. And I'm like, and I'm asking the what if questions. Well, what if I went? And they're like, it's $200. And I believe I had 300 in my bank, to be honest with you. So, I just didn't go. So now, as far as making an impact, I know when they went and they came back, I remember I watched it on TV, and I would say the impact, the spirit that they got from that, and then that's kept them going for all these years, you know what I'm saying, which I'm sure other people that went, you know what I'm saying, but I definitely would say I'm a recipient of that, because I benefited from the teachings and just having them, you want to say, as examples in my life. So that aspect, but that was early on, man. Now it's a different story. You feel me? How I feel. I'll drop whatever I got to do and hustle up the money or whatever I got to do. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I did that these last two meetings, the Savior's Day and the November 5th. So, but I'm just saying, I'll just be honest with you, early in that stage, I didn't choose to go.
Yes, sir. Have you ever faced fear? And if so, how have you overcome that fear?
Shoot, bro. To be honest with you, I'm doing a Facebook Live in about a next week labeled hard trials are necessary. So I joined the nation in 2000. Fear ain't stopped. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely have benefited from it by facing fear. And up until recently, what it does for me, you know, it's like put it like this. The minister says, by not, I believe this is just kind of in my own words of what he said, but when you don't face fear, it affects your character, almost like deterioration of your character. So you don't benefit. It's consequences to your character. So that means the opposite. When you face fear, it's a benefit to your character. So I just say me recently, okay? I'm gonna just be honest with you, brother. You asked me if I'm married, okay? Just recently, I'm freshly divorced, okay? But you know, so I've been struggling with that for the last 8 months, that experience, you feel me? Separation to divorce. But, you know, me and my former wife, we're good friends, and we have, to be honest with you, we got a stronger bond than we did when we were married. Just everything that's happened through that. And even up until recently, I had to face a fear that was in the midst, that you want to say came from my family, that I had to speak my mind no matter what I was worried about, you feel me? And I know it took me to a different level. Let me put it like that. So, and the other thing is, I bring up the divorce because I was in my home. I went for a while, a few months in my hometown in Seattle. Okay. And while during the separation and stuff, dealing with that. So, and I really wasn't financially ready to come back here. I hadn't decided what I was going to do. You know, we had been separated for a while, you know what I'm saying? Like 8 months or since last July, which was around the same time that my adoptive father passed. So I was dealing with that too. But so finally, back in February, I said, and I really couldn't afford to come up here. And then I was going to try to make it to Savior's Day too in February. But in the beginning of February, I said, I'm just getting on the road. You feel me? And I'm coming to face, we only have one more step to fulfill our divorce, was turning into paperwork. But I knew I had to be here to do that. So I said, I'm just getting on the road and I'm facing whatever it's going to face. I only have $15 in my pocket and a half a tank of gas. Okay, so which I DoorDashed and Ubered on the way up here. I drove from Seattle, took the long route to went through LA, and no hotel, sleeping in the car. But I made a decision, and I said, I'm just gonna face whatever the fears, anxiety you want to say, and I don't take that back. I don't take that whole eight months experience back. It's been an experience and I want to say it's uplifted my spirit more so than it was just facing that. And I want to say, I believe you said, what was it? And here, let me share the experience also. Is Savior's Day, by the hair of my chinny chin chin, made it there financially, and put it like that. And I'm not going to really get into details how I got helped or whatever, but Allah provided. Let me put it like that. So then I go to Savior's Day, and I'm a FOI coordinator. Again, going back to the fear. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have accepted this post. So, and I felt that, I want to say, I call it, as brothers come from different backgrounds, I believe that they would be more beneficial in this post than me. And I didn't want to take the post. But the brother was saying, he was giving me the reasons why he wanted to pick me for this post. So, and again, 10, 15 years ago, bro, I wouldn't even be doing videos. I wouldn't even I probably wouldn't want to do this interview. You feel me? So facing fear, put it like that. So then we get to Savior's Day, and we're in a restaurant. Now, to be honest with you, I thought I was told that we were going to be able to sit with the student supreme captain in our post, you know, because they were having a dinner for the officers, put it like that. So I was a free dinner at the Salon Bakery. So you know, as Black folks, we like free, but I love free. I just keep it, you know what I'm saying? But to be honored like that meant more than even if I had to pay for it. It was just to be recognized for that. So it's but I thought I was gonna be able to sit with him, and it didn't work out that way. That was for the study group FOI coordinator. That was for the student captains, a part of the masters. But look at the beautiful experience I got is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan came downstairs. And if you've seen it, I posted a video that got over 10,000 views that I got a close view of the minister. So 2 feet pretty much. And I took the video and everything, gave him the greetings and everything. It looked right at me. So that's a benefit. I believe I looked at facing my fears. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's a benefit, a reward I looked at. So that just been put me on cloud 9 ever since then. You know what I mean? So yeah, I had to share that of what that means, facing your fear. You know, and that's just a couple of them. I mean, to be honest with you, we could start going out there selling the final call newspaper. I've been consistent for since 1999, and especially in my city, Seattle, Washington, where as I mentioned, my family, we're known, you know, and we're known beyond just the streets. To be honest with you, a lot of people have heard of the show, the End All Shows and the Hereafter TV. Well, you know, where that had started back in 2003, before anybody was even doing YouTube videos, be honest with you. And they were suggested by somebody to start putting their videos on YouTube around, I believe, 2007, and it just went on from there. And I believe, all praise is due to Allah, I believe that it really inspired a lot of people to do that. Now everybody's doing it. You feel me? To be honest with you, I believe they put their videos on there before maybe I even seen videos on YouTube of the minister. So I believe it even inspired people to put videos of the minister on there. You know, so I wanted to recognize that. But I used to be on that show, but I barely would speak. They would try to encourage me. I was shy. I was the turtle back then. You know what I'm saying? So that was my personality. And I'd be honest with you, it was fearful. If I do get an opportunity to speak, then I believe you got live callers, and they used to criticize us and call names and point me out. I'm not speaking much and stuff. So, you know, I get really heckled there. And it was fear. But I toughed it out. And now you see me, all praise to do it to Allah. I reached out to you to want to do a video. You feel me? So that's facing fear. Let me just put it like that.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Brother Miciail, for reaching out. Dr. Carter says, Assalamu alaikum, family, and happy Mother's Day to all the sisters. Walaikum salam, sir, and happy Mother's Day to all the sisters as well. Yes, sir. We have a quick 60-second commercial break, sir, and we're coming right back to our Brother Miciail, to continue to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. Thank you for every like, share, subscription, and anonymous cash app to the People's Podcast. Thank you all for the support.
A camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those services. Sister Miriam's ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, and now Spanish book. All 3 available on Amazon.com. Sister Naima's Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studios of Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Kenneth's Bow Tie Maker Extraordinaire. He'll ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Dr. Henry Carter's King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad's COVID-19 Disinfected Cleaning Services, out of Chicago. Student Minister Sharif Muhammad's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, available on adulsharif.com. And lastly, Brother Joshua Muhammad's book, Cleopatra, as well as No Father, No Excuse, both available on Amazon. Thank you
all very much for watching. All right, sir. My next question for you is, what type of music do you listen to?
Oh, brother. Glad you asked it. Music is my therapy, bro. It just complements what be on my mind with these teachings and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna start off. My favorite rapper is E40.
Okay.
So now I want to say that's what so I say he's my first, that's my first, music. But my other music I like is the 80s white rock, they call it, I guess you want to say, or 80s rock, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, okay.
That's my other, man. So those, but I'm open to everything. As far as anybody else, of course, like, I like Tupac and stuff like that. People that are been, very, they got a place in hip hop, especially because of their death and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like, it's pretty much, so I like, and then I like 90s hip hop, 90s R&B, you know what I'm saying? I say my favorite R&B current one is Chris Brown, but I'll probably, my old school favorite one is probably R. Kelly.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, great. My next question for you is, why is How to Eat to Live such a focal point for you and your network?
Okay, so let me put it like this. First of all, and then this kind of like the stepbrothers I mentioned, we had started How to Eat, successfully practicing How to Eat to Live before we officially joined the Nation of Islam. So our oldest brother, he started in 96, and me and my middle brother started in 97. We didn't get so by 1998, we were both eating once every other day. Okay. And then we joined the Nation of Islam. My one that got his ex the fastest is right at the end of 1999. And me and my two other brothers, 2000. So you can see we went into the Nation of Islam eating once every other day. Okay. So that's one aspect. I mean, my oldest brother that started with him, and he was, again, before the teaching, before joining, his girlfriend at the time got pregnant and he was overweight. So he was like, and we all three gave some aspect and made an effort to eating one meal a day, and we didn't succeed. So he finally said, man, my son's not going to see me overweight. So he started one meal a day, and then he had heard a cassette tape by Dr. Alim giving an outline of an example of how much food we should eat when we do eat the one meal a day. Because a lot of us fail, I believe, because we don't have the concept of what that means. So we might not eat enough food, or we're not focusing on the part of nothing in between. So we're not successful. So once he made up his mind and then he heard that, it was over. So we knew. So, and to be honest with you, we just had our 25-year anniversary on successfully practicing How to Eat to Live. But it wasn't up until, all praise is due to Allah, absolutely. So that's like part of our life, man. So, but being married and then being inspired from other people, well, I'll just put it like this. I have to go back to, again, my brother's, YouTube, I mean, their show and stuff like that is, just being on there. And it was just, I want to say, a lot of experiences just was where my gifts wasn't, it wasn't time for them to come out. Let me put it like that. So the minister says time dictates the agenda. I just believe it was time. And people encouraged me, including my former wife, and people encouraged me. And I also, the COVID was hitting believers and we were dying. And so that first strand was hitting our health issues. Let me put it like that. So that's another thing that made me want to speak out with it. And I just didn't have the confidence before then. So I just believe it was time. And then I seen where a lot of times we just argue on social media over how we should eat, but we're not practicing it. So I just felt, and I just really kept quiet long enough. You know what I'm saying? I kept quiet. I was humble with my, I don't, where if I'm in a public place or even if I see somebody not eating to live, I was always humble. I never said nothing to them. I don't correct them. To me, that's a turnoff when people, especially when you go on Facebook and somebody might misspell a word and you go on the wall and scribbling, talking about you need to correct yourself and on other aspects of the truth or the teaching. So I never did that. That was never my personality. You feel me? So I believe that it was time for me for Allah to bring my testimony out. And I had kept it quiet too long. You feel me? But now I don't want to say too long because time dictates the agenda. But I proved that I kept my, it was never about vanity. So now it was just time for it to come out. So that's where I believe that's my focal point. But as like these last year, I got other, you know, like other focal points that's going to come out too. You feel me? But that was just the first, that was the one I was comfortable with. Let me put it like that. You know, so I just started with that.
Perfect. Yes, sir. We thank you very much. All right. Our last question for you, sir, Miciail, is where can we see you? Second to last question, where can we see you and support you online?
Okay, so that would be Facebook. You go in Miciail, and then let's see, Guadalupe Doll X. But if you just spell, nobody on Facebook got my first name spelled like that. So just spell Miciail, they'll find me. And then I'm on TikTok, the Fountain of Youth Live, TikTok. So that's how you can subscribe. And then, you know, you can support me by following me, subscribing to me on TikTok. Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. What would you like your legacy to be, sir?
My legacy, well, I believe I'm making an effort to do that because I said when I first started the videos, when I pass, I'd want family to be able to, and people to benefit. After I pass, you'll have videos and the teachings, man, to be honest with you. That's what the truth stays here forever, even if we pass. So that's what to be honest with you, I'm motivated and I believe I'm making a step into my legacy, which is truth. Just put it like that.
Excellent. What a legacy you have, sir. I want to thank you again on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast for your sacrifices and the sacrifices of your family, particularly your two brothers that you mentioned. Please give them a shout out and salute on behalf of us as well. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the People's Podcast. You can't wait to put this on YouTube. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam.
Excellent job. Thank you all for watching.
Yes, sir. Thank you.